One thing protects it all, your roof. And when you've got a new one, you're set for decades. I'm Andrew Lee. Our company, Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, is trusted by homeowners and businesses for all roofing and exterior projects. Shingles, metal, slate, gutters, windows, siding, decks, and more. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors is your go-to for all protection and efficiency. Get your free no-hassle inspection today. Call or text 434-515-2868. Perimeter Roofing and Exteriors, protecting from the top down.
Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM, you're listening to Talk Local to Me, brought to you by the Central Virginia Business Coalition.
Hi, and welcome to Talk Local to Me. We've got a great episode in store for you today. No coincidence, Heather might not make it today. So just take from that what you will. So I want to talk about CVABC events a little bit. The only one that I actually have in my head that I know about is the home show that is at River Ridge Mall this weekend from, I believe it's 10 to 6 on Saturday and 12 to 6 on Sunday. Could be 12 to 5. Don't hold me to that. But make sure you come out for that. Heather's actually helping set up for that and getting things ready and got delayed, so she won't be here today. But we're going to have a great show for you. We've got Ula Kauppi.
Hi.
My brain had to finish the rest of that in my head.
Yes.
So, and you're with the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra.
I am.
So tell us a little bit about how long you've been there and what you do and things like that.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for having me. And Heather, I missed you. Heather's my friend, so I didn't get to see her today, but that's okay.
That's okay.
But you're my friend too, so it's all
well,
right.
that's good.
So I am the executive director of the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra. I have been in that position since June 1st of 2024, so coming up on a year. Prior to that, I worked in several other nonprofits around town, but I have returned to my passion, which is the arts. So I'm really excited about that. And we're having a great year. The Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra has been in existence. We're in our 42nd season, believe it or not. Yep. So, and it started out as just kind of a way for local musicians to get an opportunity to play classical music in an orchestral setting. But it has evolved over the years into a fully professional orchestra. All of our musicians are top notch. You would come and see, what you're going to see in Lynchburg is just like what you would see in a large city. And so it's really wonderful to be a part of putting that together.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I like that. So I remember when I was younger going to see some of the performances because it used to be over by the hospital. Is that right?
It used to be. Well, now I've been in town for 21 years and we've been going to the symphony about that long, and it used to be at Glass.
Glass. Okay.
In the auditorium. Yeah.
Very cool.
And now we're in the Academy, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. And beautiful facility.
Yes.
And fantastic acoustics.
Yes.
Perfect for an orchestra.
Yes.
So you said, I've got some notes here. I'm not going to lie. So
that's okay.
You've got the Lynchburg Symphony Youth Orchestra Spring Concert coming up April 12th. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So in addition to being a fully professional orchestra, we also have a music education program called the Lynchburg Symphony Youth Orchestra. And we have 90 students this year. We've grown quite a bit. 90 students from public schools, private schools, and home schools all over Central Virginia. So not just Lynchburg, all the surrounding counties. There's at least one kid coming from every county in our region. And they come together every Tuesday and rehearse and are able to, it kind of complements what they're doing in school or in their home school or in their private lessons. And then we give them an opportunity to play with a symphony orchestra. And we have two larger scale concerts a year. One happened back in November, and the spring concert is our big one. And it's happening not this Saturday, but next Saturday, April the 12th.
Great. And you have to have tickets for that?
Yes. You can get tickets on our website, or you can get tickets for this one. You can get them at the door as well.
Okay. And how much are tickets?
I think they're That's a good question,
That's a good
Mike.
question.
You stumped me. No, I think they're $15 for adults and $5 for students.
That's not bad.
No, not at all. And then it's at 4:00 and on Saturday the 12th, and it's going to be at the Ramp Church International. So we're very excited to partner with the Ramp Church. They have a beautiful, I don't know if have you been in there? It's beautiful.
I haven't.
They have a really beautiful facility, very modern facility. So we're doing our concert there this year, and excited to get that going.
Very cool. And very cool that you can partner with other community organizations and kind of make it where it's, it's nice that you're in the academy and you can do things there, but also to celebrate other venues and things in Lynchburg.
Definitely.
So, all right. So that's the 12th. And I'm sorry, what time did you say that was? Because I
4:00.
At 4:00.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then you've also got, tell me a little bit about the homecoming event.
Yes. So our we every season we do 4 concerts at the Academy Center of the Arts, and we have already done 3 this season, and this is our final one of the season. It's coming up on May 17th, and we are calling it Homecoming, and there's a very special reason for that. We have a young violinist who is making waves in the violin performance world all over the country and internationally, actually. His name is Virgil Moore, but the really cool thing about Virgil is he is a product of Lynchburg. He grew up in Lynchburg, attended Lynchburg City Schools, and got his start in the LCS Strings program, which is very unique. Most cities our size don't have anything like that.
Right.
And he got started in that program and then became a member of the LSYO, our youth orchestra program. And then he actually played with the LSO for a few years as well, because he's extremely, extremely talented. I would say prodigy is what I would say.
Yeah.
And so he went off to college and studied violin performance at the McDuffie Strings Center in Macon, Georgia.
Yeah.
Which coincidentally is where I'm from. So I think that's kind of cool.
Okay.
And then he is now pursuing his master's degree at the Juilliard School.
Wow.
And I mean the Juilliard School in New York City.
The
Juilliard School.
That's wow.
So he's coming back to do a featured solo with us.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of getting back to his roots and
yes.
things like that. That is really cool. So, and you said that's on the 17th.
Yes.
Tickets for that, I assume?
Yes. Tickets are on our website. If you go to our website, www.lynchburgsymphony.org, and there is a current season link, and the link is there. It's a little easier to find it if you go to us first. But if you just go to the Academy Center of the Arts website and go to their events link, it's in there too. And that's where you actually buy the tickets.
Okay. And that one's at the Academy?
Yes.
Okay.
It is. It's at the Academy, and it's at 7:30 p.m. on May 17th.
Okay, awesome. And I'm going to put you on the spot again. Do you know how much tickets are for that one?
That I do know. And it varies. It depends on what section you're in.
Okay.
It can go anywhere from $20 to $100.
Okay.
So, and there are student discounts as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra and kind of what they do kind of as a whole when there aren't special events like this going on.
Yes, I would love to talk about that because that is something that is very much a passion of mine. I've worked previously in human services nonprofits, the Free Clinic of Central Virginia and the United Way of Central Virginia. And so I've built connections over the years. So this year I've really been trying to get the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra out in service. So we do outreach performances in between our larger concerts. We do smaller ensembles. So we have gone to a lot of great places. We went to the Templeton Senior Center and did a string quartet performance there for their 20th anniversary. We did a pop-up event at the Lynchburg Public Library downtown branch.
Okay.
And where we had Santa Claus and we had a flute, violin, and cello trio. And we had lots of, maybe 35 families, I think, came out with their small children and enjoyed the music. And then also got to visit with Santa. And we recently went to Lynchburg City Schools and we did a instrument petting zoo. So I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase. I never had before. I became part of an orchestra. It's really a very fun, unique event. We had 4 musicians from our orchestra who came, and each one had a station, and they had a selection of instruments from their instrument family. So we had strings, we had percussion, we had woodwinds, and we had brass. And every child this was done at Paul Monroe Elementary School, but next year we want to do it at Paul Monroe and Deerington. So we're trying to grow it a little bit.
Yeah.
Each student from the 2nd and 3rd grades got to come through, and every kid got to see, hear, touch, and actually even try playing those instruments. And they got to learn about the different instrument families, and it was just a wonderful experience. And I just want to give a little shout out to Nora Moore, who is the music teacher at Paul Monroe and Deerington. And we worked together to make that happen.
Very cool. Yeah. Music is very important in the developmental stage.
Yes.
I was like, can I say that word right?
Yeah, you're right.
Developmental, only once apparently. Developmental stage. And so I've played drums since I was 6.
Oh, fantastic.
I joke that I have no musical talent, so I played drums. In middle school, I played flute. That didn't go so well.
I did too, by the way. I played flute in high school.
Right.
I was actually on the flag line, and we all had to play an instrument, so I chose the flute.
Oh.
I wasn't very good either.
Yeah, I chose the flute because I didn't want something heavy I had to take back and forth to school. So my youngest niece plays cello, which is funny because she is little. So she has to carry this huge cello back. And it's, quarter size, whatever. And it's still huge, compared to her. And she carries it back and forth. But music, very important in those early stages and even later in life, because, a lot of stress relief can come from music and things like that. So,
and I do tell people that one of the things that I think is special about classical music, and I've been a classical music fan my whole life. I grew up with parents who dragged me off to the symphony and the ballet, and, I resisted it when I was really little, but then I learned that I really loved it.
Right.
Music can kind of help us to express and deal with emotions that we can't verbalize,
right?
Because it touches a different part of your brain and a different part of your spirit, So I think it's important for all of us. And I've really been struck with all of the unrest that we have going on in our community, in our country, that when I go to a LSO concert, everyone in there has completely put aside all those differences and is just enjoying the music together. And that's very powerful.
Right. And of course, I work with seniors,
Yeah.
I didn't get to say earlier, but I'm, with Visiting Angels, America's Choice of Home Care, just to pick at Heather a little bit if she's listening. And so working with seniors and dementia, a lot of times music can have a very calming effect and not just improve mood, but also health as well. So, and we've had clients that like all sorts of music. We had one client that loved Charlie Pride and, would listen to, would have her best days when we would start with music. When we were providing care for her and things like that. So, and if she ever got, out of sorts a little bit, we'd tell, the caregivers like, hey, play some music and she'll calm right down and get right back into her groove. So
we need to hook up having us come play music at your care facility.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, we'll
talk offline about that.
Yeah, definitely. So, and we, talking about the importance of music and the different kinds of music, things like that. So I know Woody loves karaoke. No word from Woody. So that's a yes. So
that was a nod. He nodded.
We're going to get him signed up. So, but yeah, so my wife and I do karaoke quite a bit, and it's interesting the different styles of music. You get a lot of show tunes and things like that.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, with a lot of the younger crowd, they love show tunes and things and different things like that. So music is just a great universal language, just to kind of soothe and communicate with everybody.
For sure.
So you were talking about the youth orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody is listening to this and they were like, oh, my child plays saxophone or something like that, and they were interested in, they were pretty good at it and wanted to be a part of that, what's that process kind of look like?
Yes, please do. Go to our website, lynchburgsymphony.org, and there is a LSYO tab at the top, and there is an option to contact the coordinator. The only requirement we have is that the child has to have played music for a year on their instrument, and then we can take it from there. And we're always looking for new musicians and of all kinds. And I will say we have a special need for band musicians because we don't have as many of those. So that would be like woodwinds, brass, percussion, but also strings. We need everybody.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so same thing for the adults. Like what what kind of requirements and things?
Yeah.
If there's somebody was like, oh, I play all the time. I wish I had people that I could play music with. Like, what kind of requirement? And
So there's an audition process. It's a blind audition, and they would just need to email us at info@lynchburgsymphony.org.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Woody, it's time to get that saxophone back out.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
So y'all didn't know Woody played saxophone, did you?
So talented.
Yes. Played saxophone, clarinet, flute.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the above.
All of the above.
Oh gosh, no, I've been to concerts and they're wonderful.
Oh,
It is.
Thank you. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
It's a great family friendly event. And, who doesn't love classical music?
I know. And, not some of our concerts are classical and some are a little bit more like pops. So we have a great variety. The last concert we did was on March 1st, and that was Cirque de la Symphony. And we had a circus troupe that were doing aerialist acrobatic things up above the stage. I got to actually be there while they were doing the rigging process to set everything up, and it was amazing. But yeah, we sold out the whole Academy for that show, and the audience just loved it. So it's just a lot of fun. Just we try to inject a lot of variety into what we're doing.
Yeah. And so the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra is a nonprofit.
Yes, we are a 501c3. And so that means that I have to go out and raise money because, believe it or not, this is a statistic that I did not know, but this is true for across the board for orchestras our size. On average, our ticket revenue, the ticket that you buy, only provides about 25 to 30% of our operating costs.
Oh, wow.
So the other 70 to 75% is up to us to raise. And we do that through a lot of Lynchburg is in the area is a wonderful place for the arts because there are a lot of people who feel strongly about the arts here. Right. I think that's unique about our area. And so a lot of people want to see that continue. So we do have a lot of generous donors that help us out. We are always looking for corporate sponsors, and we write a lot of grants, especially the spring is like grant season. So I've been writing one like every 2 weeks. So I'm just kind of exhausted at this point.
Because a lot of people don't realize how much it costs to, either start a business and run it or nonprofit, because nonprofits have a lot of the same expenses. You've got to have somewhere for your office staff. You have to have office staff. You have to, you've got to have phones and internet and all the things,
we have insurance. We have to pay for music rights. We have to pay all the companies for all the music that we use. We pay all of our musicians. I'm very proud of the fact that every single one of our musicians, if they come to a rehearsal or come to a concert, they are paid for that. That is, they are all professional. So that is some of the cost. And then, of course, we have staff. We have a professional staff. We have an amazing conductor. We have an amazing youth orchestra conductor. There are just it just adds up a lot of expenses.
It does. And so if a company wanted to, you wanted a corporate sponsor, like what's your ideal partner? I'm putting you on the spot today.
We have partnered with a lot of we've partnered with Bank of James. I mean, we've partnered with Centra. We've partnered with BWXT. There is no ideal partner, large or small. I mean, anybody. I would love to. I think we have access to an audience of people who are, consumers in our city, I mean, people who want to come out and support the arts also, are going to want to shop local, right? So we're talking local today, right? And so these are your target market. And so anybody who wants to do a sponsorship, we can customize. We have different sizes of sponsorships. We have playbill ads. We're actually just launching into that process of selling ads for our playbill. There's a lot of different ways to reach our audience. And I always love to partner with our local businesses and just try to see how it can be mutually beneficial.
Okay. And so I love Lynchburg, right? And the surrounding, like I love Bedford, I love Lynchburg. Like there's a lot of things about each part of each community in around Lynchburg and in Lynchburg. What do you think is the greatest thing about having the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra in Lynchburg?
Mm-hmm. Well, we are performing in Lynchburg, but we also take our outreach performances out all around. So we've come to Bedford, we go to Campbell, we've gone all around for different performances depending on who we're working with. We're heading out to Smith Mountain Lake next, I think is where we're going next, to the Newcomers Club. And so the nice thing about being in Lynchburg is we have access to that academy, which is just an amazing performance site. We are very fortunate to be a resident company of the Academy Center of the Arts, which means we get first pick of dates, which is actually
nice.
very advantageous because they are very busy. They have something almost every day. There's something going on. So we kind of get to lay claim to the dates that we want for our concerts. And the nice thing about that is you will see as you look year to year, our concerts are always September, December, March, May, and usually the same weekend. So that way you can kind of plan around it.
Right.
And so I like that a lot. And then just having access to that gorgeous facility, it adds a lot to
It does.
to the performance experience.
It's a jewel of Lynchburg.
It is.
So,
it is.
Yeah. So let's see here. My email just decided to update, so I have no notes right now. So I'm just winging it here. So we talked about the importance of music and how it's a universal thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what else? What is something that you feel like our listeners may not know about the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra?
We have a really unique partnership. I haven't mentioned this yet, and I did want to talk about this. We have a partnership with the University of Lynchburg, which is kind of neat because the University of Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra,
right?
They provide our practice spaces and our like rehearsal space, sectional spaces, and performance spaces for our youth orchestra. So it's kind of a great mutually beneficial partnership because we bring the best and brightest high school and middle school students onto their campus every week. And in exchange, they provide all this wonderful space. They've got great facilities there. And we really appreciate that. Honestly, the youth orchestra can't happen without that partnership. And every year, I look forward to renewing it and finding out new ways that we can help them out. We do have plans to do a big band concert on the University of Lynchburg campus this summer as part of that partnership. So I'm super excited about that.
I'm definitely going to have fun. So believe it, I was a weird kid in high school, if you can believe it. And I listened for probably 6 months, listened to nothing but big music. Loved it. So,
you need to come to that then.
Yes.
It's going to be on July 27th. I forget what time it is because we haven't quite finalized. I think it's 3, but July 27th, Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
And interestingly, that same weekend, we're also doing a big band show in Orkney Springs, Virginia. Have you ever been to Shrinemont? It's like up on a mountain.
I have not.
It's out west. It's beautiful. So every year they do the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival. And this is like not small potatoes. We went last summer too. This is a big time. Like last summer they had Dionne Warwick. They had the Oak Ridge Boys. I mean, these are, acts that you've heard of. And they always have a symphony orchestra. And we got to be that symphony last summer. And we're going back this summer as well. And we are doing a big band show because it is kind of going to be reminiscent of the 1940s because it's going to be the 80th anniversary. I think it's 80th anniversary of 80th anniversary of VE Day, Victory in Europe.
Yes.
Have I got that right?
I think so.
Right? Is that right, Woody?
We'll say it's right.
I'm going to effort it right now.
Yeah. So, but we have a wonderful vocalist who's coming with us, and we have a 16-piece swing band that we've put together out of our musicians, and we're going to do, some 1940s standards, and then we're going to reprise that show on the University of Lynchburg campus that same weekend.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So I like that it seems to be a variety of music, like not just what you would typically think of, like an orchestra doing, and I like that.
But then the typical orchestra, the classical thing, that is our bread and butter,
right?
And we do that amazingly well too. Last September we had local pianist Emily Yapchua. She is on faculty at Randolph, and she also plays the piano all over the world, in different capacities. And she joined us and played Rhapsody in Blue, which most everyone. If you don't think you've heard it, just Google it. You've heard it.
I gotcha.
It's been in commercial. United Airlines is the big,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
And it is funny because classical music plays such a big part in our daily, like just pop culture. And, at Bugs Bunny,
Right.
that's classical music, and you just don't realize the connections until you start hearing something. And then you're like, oh, wait, where have I heard that before?
Right.
And so it's really fun to make those connections. And we had a great time with Emily and Rhapsody in Blue. So there's just a lot of different ways that we combine classical music to make a fresh new expression.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 questions we ask every podcast guest.
Okay.
So the first one is, how long has the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra been a member of the CVABC?
Oh, well, I've only been there for a year, so I don't know.
So a year.
No. We were already a member when I got there. I suspect it's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have been a member of the CVABC in my other capacities with my other organizations as well for a long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
So you've had some experience with it.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the greatest benefit of being part of the Central Virginia Business Coalition?
Yeah. This podcast for sure.
Oh, awesome. I like that answer, especially today.
I do love this podcast. I think it's a lot of fun. I've done this quite a few times. But just the chance to network with other business leaders, I think is priceless. And then also just to help us get the word out about our organization and what we offer.
Yeah. I was at a networking meeting today and was talking to somebody about how there are so many different opportunities to network.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about the value of one organization over another and how they're different. And there are definitely differences, right? But it's no matter what, networking is important. And so we had our Lead On Summit Thursday, and Heather spoke there, and she was talking about the importance of connection and relationships, things like that.
Yes.
She did a great job, by the way. I'm saying something nice about Heather without sarcasm. Woody, can you please make a note?
Write it down.
So she did a great job. She had a very organized PowerPoint. She did a very good job with it. So talking about relationships and how networking isn't just collecting business cards, right? So it's about making connections with people. And I actually have quite a few people who I would consider friends outside of work that I have made through this that they're just great people. There's a lot of great people in business in Lynchburg. And then there's Woody Watts. No, I had to fit the sarcasm in somewhere. So no, but it is really great. And it's the Central Virginia Business Coalition is a very unique group of people because you get such a diverse amount of business sizes and, experiences and services that they provide, things like that. So it's a great organization. I'm glad to be a part of it. And agree. It is good. And so the networking is one thing. I know you have another. I wonder if you remember what you put down.
Did you ask me that ahead of time and I answered?
It's in the email. So I set up the email for the calendar.
And I answered it. Yep. And now I can't remember what I said. Hold on. I didn't mention the podcast in the email.
You didn't, but you did say the promotional opportunities.
Oh, that's what I was talking about.
So that podcast falls.
Yes, the promotional opportunities.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
Like electronic billboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like that.
Those are really cool things. I remember the first year. I think I forgot to do our billboards last year, but that's on me. We did talk about the importance on one episode about if you can't just join the CVABC.
Yes.
And then just magically your business thrives, right? You've got to be involved.
Yourself to take advantage.
You have to take advantage of those things.
Yeah, you've got to make a list.
Yeah,
that's something I've learned over the years. Is like they're not going to do it for you.
Yeah,
so you have to actually sign up for the podcast.
Exactly. But I remember the first time I had a billboard up, and I went and did what I think everybody does the first time they get a billboard. Right, went and stood out there, and of course it's a digital board, so it changes every so often, and waiting to get a picture with it. Here we go. All right, go quick. And you've got to be ready. So but it was really cool to see because when we first did that, we were a lot smaller than we are now, right? I think we had an office staff of 2 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee, right? So being able to do that as a small business, and you may be thinking well, I hear Visiting Angel commercials on the TV all the time. How are y'all a small business? So we're a franchise system. So we started from scratch and had to build up. And yes, they give us advertising opportunities, things like that. But the CVABC really give us that local touch to where we could reach to people to let them know that we are America's choice in home care. So
that's fantastic.
But yeah, it's great to see. And I think it's a great tool to be able to add to your marketing arsenal and things like that. So it's fantastic. So yeah.
I appreciate it. Definitely.
Yeah. So if somebody's interested in more information, I know you said the website a couple times, but yes, that one more time.
Please go to lynchburgsymphony.org. And email me if you want to sponsor or you want to find out anything. I mean, my email is not a secret and it's easy. It's Ula, ULA, at lynchburgsymphony.org. So
That is nice and easy.
yeah.
So I like it. So we'll be back in a few minutes, and we're going to take a break from one of our wonderful local sponsors and let you know a little bit more about them.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Omega Disaster Restoration, located in Campbell County, Virginia. Omega specializes in water, fire, and smoke damage restoration, as well as mold remediation. Their region includes Central and Southwest Virginia, which spans a vast service area from Blacksburg to Charlottesville and Stanton to Danville.
In addition to disaster restoration and full service reconstruction and remodeling, Omega is proud to offer custom all-wood cabinets through their Hanover Woodworking Studio, custom countertops via their Top Solution Studio, and dumpster services through Old Dominion Dumpsters, all part of the Omega family of brands. A beautiful showroom is currently under construction at their Exchange Drive location and will be soon open to the public, showcasing their diverse offering.
Customers can call 434-616-4659 for emergency assistance with water, fire, smoke damage, or mold remediation needs. Omega provides 24/7 emergency response, ensuring that help is always available. Locally owned and not a franchise, Omega is your first and last call in any emergency, restoring your home or business from beginning to end. For more information about Omega Disaster Restoration and their comprehensive services, please visit omegadisasterrestoration.com/VA/Lynchburg.
That was a great commercial. Woody, I don't think we talk about Media Squatch enough.
Oh man,
So what a great ad. What a great way. You know, we were just talking about the billboards.
I
and
give
how
all the
exciting
credit
it
to the
was.
voice actors though.
And half of them, yes. Sorry, Heather. So it is great that like Woody's got such a. We were just talking about how fun it is to be on a podcast, right?
Yes.
Such an unusual atmosphere and culture here that is. I don't know if you follow the Media Squatch TikTok or if you do TikTok at all, but it is entertaining to say the least.
I haven't discovered that. I get on every social media platform that my kids are on because I feel like I need to know.
Right.
Like, not that I'm spying on them,
But you need to know how it
sometimes I'm
works.
spying on them, but yeah, I just need to be able to converse with them, you know, so that like when they're talking about something, so I know what's going on, and so yeah.
Well, if you want to learn
I need to follow that.
if you want to learn all the new modern slang words, you just need to follow Perimeter Roofing on their TikTok page. There's one TikTok in particular that if you can make it through without laughing, then you are better than me. And I think it has like 3,000 views or something like that. I'm 2,999 of them. So, and I don't know how many views it has, but you know, just saying, it's very entertaining. But Woody here with the podcast and with Media Squatch, their channel. If you like to see people scared, Woody apparently jumps very easily.
So I gave the crew direct access to our TikTok account. Right?
Yeah, you fool.
Oh,
And
wow.
They have fun with it. So they kind of update that. And,
That's fun.
And they really like scaring me for some reason. I don't know why.
And
so
I mean, it's fantastic.
they
And
really enjoy it. They get a kick out of it. So yeah, there you go.
And I'm not going to say anything personal about any of them, but I love that they don't have to put the Sasquatch costume on to scare you.
Nope. Nope.
So they can
Not
take
at
that
all.
as an insult or whatever.
It's just funny.
It's fine. So you do need to. So I think you need a collaboration here, Woody and Ula. I think you need to do like a
Let's do it.
concert, like Into the Woods or something like that, and have the Sasquatch just randomly come out.
Oh,
Listen.
actually,
don't
yeah,
tell
I'm
me
thinking about
that.
this.
Woody loves to break out the Sasquatch costume. He's got 1, 2, 3. How many?
We have 3 now.
They have 3.
3.
Oh,
So if you ever
Completely
wonder
different
Yeah.
stuff.
if you have enough Sasquatch costumes, the answer
Yeah.
is no, you don't. And
can
Laura,
never-
if you're listening, I'm sorry.
You can never have enough. You know, it's so funny. I had someone text me like a week or 2 ago.
Are you talking about the wedding?
Well, that's another one. That
Yeah.
was, so we recently, Bigfoot made an appearance at a wedding because the fiance was a huge Bigfoot fan. So
Yeah.
wow.
Bigfoot made a surprise appearance and was a hit.
Huh.
And then somebody else texted me. It was a few weeks ago. They were like, "Hey, my son has to do a presentation about Sasquatch." Can you?
Are
And I
you
was like,
kidding?
"How many people do you know that has like a surplus of like Bigfoot costumes?"
That's
No,
fantastic.
I'm not
like,
joking. Yeah, it was absolutely
Wow.
just. It was like, "Oh, great! I'm glad I could help."
like if they didn't get an A on that project, like
That's right.
what? Wow.
I know, right?
Hey,
That's-
my cat, just a little known story. My cat that I had when I was a kid, My cat's name was Bigfoot.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
I like it.
He was a really big orange cat and he had huge paws.
Aw.
So he came by it honest. So yeah.
That's nice.
Mhm.
That's nice. I love that. So yeah, Woody, if you haven't ever been to the Media Squatch Studios and been a guest on the podcast, and if you're a CVABC member, sign up. We want to have you on
gotta
here.
do it.
Right? Is it a terrible experience?
No. I've done
It's-
this many times and it's always fun to come here. I also will give a shout out to Bedford. I just like to come to Bedford.
I do too.
I like it. It's such a cute, fun, neat little town. And, and every time I come here, I have
Gotta hit the Joe
stop.
Beans.
Yes. I didn't know if I could say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just a little shout out to Joe Beans because the Joe Beans on 221, right when you're coming into town,
Right.
maybe it's the only one in Bedford. I don't know. But anyway, that one, when you come, that's the best one of
Is it?
all of them. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And every time I come here, no matter what, I have to go do my coffee stop.
My weakness, if I get to the podcast studio and if I have time after, which I talked about off the air, like this is my third event of the day. So like if I ever have time, I'd love to, the Blue Lady, they have a BLT
Oh, yes.
that will knock your socks off.
Yes.
And Jay and them over there are just
Yes,
so nice.
they're
and things like that.
wonderful.
Like they're fantastic.
Mhm.
So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Lead On Summit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk. So it was very interesting. So we've had my director of business development, Tiana, has been on the show a few times. Rarely has she gotten more than a day's notice. In fact, she had worked for me, I think, for like maybe 2 weeks. And Heather texted me and said, one of the podcast guests can't make it today. I'm like, great, I got it. I'll bring somebody with me. Tiana had an hour and a half notice before she came on the podcast. So,
Nice.
but she did a great job.
That's great.
And we talked then about a little bit about the culture, and then she and at Visiting Angels and kind of the idea that I what's it fostered and grew, and one that is not typical, not just in home care or healthcare, but in business in general. So a few weeks ago in February, she actually came on, or it might have been late January. And we lost my dad in January, and we were talking a little bit about the influence the influence he had on me and things like that, and on our culture. And like we were talking about our culture, and it kind of took a turn. Heather made it emotional, and said, that she felt like that my dad had encouraged that culture and that kindness in me. And it kind of hit me, and so we went a completely different route on the podcast that day, and it was not expected. But out of that, Tiana and I ended up speaking at the Lead On Summit about our company culture. So what was very interesting is when I told Tiana, like, hey, we're going to speak at this event, she was like, great. She was thinking it was like a coffee talk, like a 30-second, like, hey, and then when I like gave her a list of like, these are all the things I want to touch on. And she was like, that's a lot. And I was like, well, we're talking for like 45 minutes. And she threatened to quit right on the spot. Which I feel like Woody would too if you told him he had to speak in public for 45 minutes. So she was like, I can't do that. I no. And I was like, well, let's think about it. And then she saw like kind of the notes laid out a little bit more, and she actually typed it up like a document, like we would stand and read it. And I was like, well, no, it's going to be more like a conversation back and forth. And she was like, all right, I'm on board. Like, I don't like it, but I'll do it. And I told her beforehand, I said, you're going to do this. You're going to be great. And you're going to tell me, I appreciate that you made me do it. I really learned from it. I grew from it, but I don't ever want to do it again. The unexpected happened. And afterwards she came up and she was like, I hate that you were right. She goes, I did grow. I did learn, but I would do this again. Right. And so it was a great experience. So first of all, thank you to the CVABC and all its members that came to the Lead On Summit, because they were very receptive to what we had to hear. It was a great audience. Try the fish. I couldn't help myself. So but it was great because we were talking about our culture and things like that. And it was unexpected because we were talking about how we have, our office staff has built in mental health days because our job is very hard. Like, we do not take ourselves very seriously, but we take what we do very seriously, and it's a stressful job, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about how we have mental health days built in. We talked about how our caregivers, like, we work with them to make sure that the schedules meet their needs. And, if we've got somebody who has an issue because of daycare or it snows and school's out, things like that, we can work around those things and work with our clients. And we communicate well with our clients to let them know, like, hey, if it snows, we might not have anybody to come because we can't put our staff at risk today, because if something happens to them, you might not have care for a long time after that,
Right.
And the issues with hiring. And we talked about how, I don't know if I love statistics when I remember them. So in home care, the national turnover rate in 2022 was 77.1%. and the national turnover rate in 2024 was 77.9%. So that's a high number, right? So ours is 8.6, right? So we talked about that and how that happened. Well, we went back to the office and we started looking at so we talked about everything we do well. What can we do better? And we've actually changed quite a few things to make things easier for both our office staff and our caregivers as well. So one thing we did, I always hate it when I go to like national conferences and stuff for home care and for Visiting Angels, and they're like, here's your marketing plan. This will work every single time. And they're like, this only costs us $4,000 a month. I'm like, where are we getting $4,000 a month? Right.
Right.
So some ideas cost money. So we realized that like our staff, when we do interviews and things, like we have a copier, but it's all the way in the back. So somebody comes in, driver's license, all the things you need to do a job. And they were having to walk all the way back there. If they ever had to print something, they had to walk into the back. So we now have a printer in our front office, like in our lobby area, so that they can get to things easier. So we started looking at like, what can we do things to make better for our office staff to just make our job a little bit easier, and actually built on our culture more because of talking about how great our culture was. So my challenge to business owners out there, and just even people who work for even nonprofits, things like that, like I want you to look around today and see like, what is something that doesn't seem like it's that big of an issue, but that slows you down or causes problems? And is there a way to make it better? One of the things that I feel like we have done really well with in our office is making sure that everybody supports everybody, right? If somebody needs a day off, I was out yesterday. I had a doctor's appointment in the morning and had some things in the afternoon going on. And so like, I wasn't needed at the office because there were people that were able to do the things that I needed to do yesterday, right? Same thing for tomorrow. So, but it's great to have that support so that, everybody's going to have days where they struggle, but being able to have other people willingly step in and be able to support each other is key. And I'm sure you have that too, especially working with a nonprofit.
Yeah, definitely.
I work with Love Heals, and CVABC is a nonprofit. I work with them too. So like seeing sometimes it's hard, like you can't just go out and sell more things, right? You've got to work to fundraise and things like that. And sometimes you can get really burnt out if you get too many no's. Yeah. Right.
Oh, yes.
And it almost makes you gun shy to ask anybody else.
It does.
For help. And it can be a struggle. So having a team that supports you through that is essential. And, I did talk about Media Squatch's staff here, and they have a lot of fun, but they're really good at what they do. So and content creation, Woody, help me out here. Content creation is not really an old art form, right? Like this is a fairly new kind of concept for advertising to kind of go out and get video content and do like TikTok style videos to promote businesses.
Yeah. We over the last few years, I started out doing a lot of just commercials, and I just know and saw how marketing was changing and how people, I don't know, that, a TV commercial is great, but a lot of businesses maybe don't even have the budget for that. Right. And a lot of eyeballs are on social media instead. So as an agency, you have to adapt and grow. And I love doing original content and just having fun and doing, doing some less polished, but whatever stuff. And we just kind of morphed into a full media marketing agency because, you got to go where the people are. So,
right.
One of the things that we saw specifically over the last, I don't know, I'd say year or so, was just the need for companies to have content gathered. So like, it is one thing you do a lot, right? You have a lot of concerts and stuff, but if, you don't hire somebody to come take pictures, or you don't hire, something that you really don't think of a lot of the times, like, oh man, we don't have any of that event we did, the lead on something, we don't have any. And that's kind of what we specialize in. So for our clients, I feel like we do a really good job. They're all over the place. Our crew is at several events getting tons of footage, not only for the businesses just to have, but also for us to showcase what they're doing and all that they're doing. It could be like Perimeter, where we're out on a job getting footage of them doing a roof that we can use in a commercial, but also just on their social media in general. So, the content gathering has been, I would say, people crave organic content now. So for us, it's very important to stay on top of that for our clients. And that's why they're everywhere, because we're always getting new, and we have folders and folders of job sites that we go to every week that we get photos, videos of for our clients, just so that we have that churn of content for them, and also keep so we did this a year ago, so it's
Right.
it's nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that is the challenge I find is organizing all of that stuff.
Yes.
You get that content and then organizing it because I take a ton of pictures for my job too.
Right.
And to find what to find specifically what you need, that's hard.
And,
It is.
and I'll brag on my crew because we have a lot going on at any given moment, like as everyone does, right? But we really try to take care of our clients and their content needs. And my crew is quick. When they go out to an event, they are uploading that footage to a full
Really fast.
system. By the time they're in the vehicle, by the time they get back, they've coordinated with each other about social media posts, and it's just kind of a good flowing circle. And I have to brag on them because it can get, it can be a lot. And you know how it is at an event. You have, we want some pictures. People usually don't know. Well, you've got like 1,000 on your camera roll. You got to go through and,
Right.
That's right.
that's one event. That's one.
And I can tell you how busy they are because on Thursday they were at the Lead On Summit in the morning. They disappeared for a little bit, right?
Yep.
And
Went to
then
another client.
they were at the mall, got featured on a news story. We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Oh,
And
no,
then they
no
were
press is bad press. But
they were back at the Lead On Summit for the most important speaker. No, just kidding. Because they were there for because I actually planted one of my answers on your staff, and I think she chickened out and handed it off to somebody else. And I answered because we were handing out candy bars, and I wanted to make sure somebody had the answer. So, but they're everywhere from the Parkway to they're a Boone tractor getting locked in a tractor.
Yep.
Did they get locked in, or was it just they weren't sure how to open the
they
door?
probably did get locked in. Though.
So
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's quite funny to see because you not only get my favorite thing about Media Squatch and the TikTok adventures is you get content for their customers and they're doing the marketing thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I said earlier, like in our office we take what we do very seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously. Like we have a lot of laughter and things like that because you have to have that.
Yes.
When you're working in a high stress job.
Sure.
The TikToks that they make where it's like behind the scenes footage for the Media Squatch page cracks me up. So I've seen cartwheels on the Parkway. I've seen, putting Sasquatch costumes on, like all sorts of things. So it's entertaining that it's kind of, it happens organically and they're just out there having fun, but they're killing it with their content.
I'm very proud of my crew.
Yeah,
I really am.
it is. So they didn't even pay me to say that today, would
They
it?
did. I'll give you a candy bar. Later.
So, okay, good. So I like Milky Way darks. And apparently nobody thought that was a great idea. It came up on the slide when I was doing my presentation. I had a huge Milky Way dark. And so when we first opened our office, the very first interview question we would ask is, what's your favorite candy bar?
Okay.
Right. So what's your favorite candy bar?
Snickers.
Snickers. Okay.
Mhm.
Woody.
Oh man, Three Musketeers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like Milky Way dark. It's my absolute favorite because you don't find it very often.
Yeah.
Anything Reese that has peanut butter in it, like it's a close second,
Yeah.
right?
Those are good
Yeah,
too.
the fast breaks.
Right.
I like those.
So the fast breaks are amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're dangerous.
They are very dangerous. So we would ask that question in an interview. And then when they started working for us and they had worked a couple shifts, things like that, they were doing a good job. I would put a Snickers in Ula's mailbox, right? And so
Yeah.
they would come in, they do that. Well, then I talked about how keto came along and like ruined the candy bar thing, right? So then we got, planters, little packages of nuts and peanuts and cashews and almonds, all that.
Mm.
And then we had people that had nut allergies. And it's like, well, now what do we do? So how do you motivate people that work for a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Money.
Okay.
So we came up with
Motivate.
these care bucks. Please don't rat me out to CVS. I totally stole it from them. But we have these little fake dollar bill. Well, they're 5 and 10 and 25s that we put in their mailbox. And we have just, since the Lead On Summit, we've actually changed that whole program to where like, it used to be like, oh, somebody really saved my skin. I'm going to throw a $25 care buck in their
Mm-hmm.
mailbox. Now there are set, like if they pick up a shift during the week, it's this. If they pick up a shift with, less than 24 hours notice, they get double that. And then, if they pick up a weekend shift that's hard to staff or something like that, they get a 25. Like and it translates to real money for gift cards. And they get to basically, it's like a store. They get to order their gift card for Walmart, McDonald's, Waffle House, which is really a Waffle Home.
That's great.
Yeah, and things like that. So
I'm taking notes, mental notes.
yeah,
Okay,
so
bring
and
paper.
it's a great way, and you'd be surprised, like, because it adds up. And we used to, they could come by anytime, and we would, have gift cards on hand to go them out. But as we've grown and we've got over 40 employees in the field now, like, it's hard to keep up with keeping enough in stock and things like that. So now we cash it out once a month. So this Friday, I think it'll get cashed out, and we'll notify them and say, hey, you've got 50 care bucks in your mailbox. What would you like to exchange that for? Like, Walmart, Kroger, all the things, Sheets, Joe Beans. We've got one caregiver that loves Joe Beans, and she won't take any other gift card but Joe Beans. So
I get it.
yeah. People love their coffee, and Joe Beans has almost a cult following. Can we talk about that for a second? Like, people, when Seven Brew came to town, people were like, I tried it and it wasn't good. It's nothing like Joe Beans. So sorry, Seven Brew. But like, everybody has their own qualities. I like them all. I'm just going to say that to placate. But
there's no such thing as a bad coffee shop in my mind.
yes. Yeah, there are some coffee shops that are national chains that I actually won't get coffee at, but they're like lemonades and things. Like, that's what I get every time. So anytime somebody's like, hey, you want to meet for coffee? I'm like, sure, where you want to meet? And they say this national brand. I'm like, all right, looks like I'm getting lemonade that day.
Yeah.
So, but finding ways to motivate staff and things like that is important. And sometimes it can be, like I talked earlier about, like, we would hear marketing ideas and it's like, yeah, throw $4,000 at this problem, right? Not everything is a $4,000 problem, right? Sometimes it's when we opened our office and we hired an RN, I said, what was your biggest complaint about your previous employer? She said, when I needed pencils or pens or paper clips or a printer cartridge, like, it was always like I had to fill out a form. I had to wait. And then, like, we couldn't print anything for like 3 weeks because we're waiting for the printer cartridge to get approved to get. So guess what we do? Once a month, I'm like, what do you guys need from, Staples, Office Depot, whatever. What do you need? And they make me a list. And if it's on the list, I get it. And I don't question it. Because if a $10 thing of Post-it notes is going to make their job easier and make them happy,
right?
I'll order Post-it notes all day long, even different colors and different sizes. And we have a wide variety of Post-it notes in our office because everybody likes something different. So, but it's you've got to find out what's important for your employees, and it's not always necessarily a big thing. I think a lot of people have worked for companies that it's hard to get what they need, or they feel like every time they ask for something, they get pushback on it.
Right.
And so they've almost become afraid to say, hey, I need this to do my job effectively.
Right.
Right. And it could be, Woody needs 6 more monitors for his desk, or
8.
Is it 8 now?
Maybe. Yeah.
So, or things like that.
Another train.
The trains are heavy today. Like,
you know what? It just hit me, not to sidetrack.
The train hits you?
Oh, God, I hope not. One of I know often people think back to COVID and like there's no good from it, right?
Right.
Let me tell you something though. There's a LSO memory that one of the things I was so like, all right, so we just talked about adapting and getting content and all that stuff. Well, one of the things I did over COVID to adapt was I did a lot of live streams, right?
Right.
And one of the things with LSO was wonderful was that even during that period, I remember doing several concerts for them and live streaming. And one of the things that I semi missed from that period was I was basically getting solo concerts,
right? Because
no one else was in the crowd, and I had to do the camera switching, and so I would have my earphones in and doing the camera switching, and there'd be nobody else in the I think we did one at the ramp, actually, that you said that.
Probably.
Yeah. And then I just remember sitting listening to these concerts, just nobody else was around. It was like, y'all, but that was one of the things y'all still brought that out to the community. So I remember getting contacted. It was just like, listen, we need to do something. Can we do this? And
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's an opportunity for me to shout out my predecessor, Mike Lewis.
Yes.
I just want to shout him out for that, because that was tough. He became the executive director. I believe it was right before COVID happened.
Yes.
And he did do a lot of really creative things to, keep things going and keep the music going out there. And very impressive.
And I think people forget the necessity to have that arts and music.
We need it.
Oh, you need it. And then
important.
I just remember during that time, it was just such a wonderful, even for me as a computer camera guy,
Mm-hmm.
it was so enriching to me. And I don't know classical music. I love listening to movie
Mm-hmm.
scores, but like just to, in the academy, the rant, and just to know that that was y'all's, vision and mission, is that no matter
Yes.
what, that we want the community to still get this and absorb this and all that. So
Right.
it just hit me. Wow, I apologize for sidetracking the conversation, but it was just,
Oh no.
LSO is just where it has always been had a special place in my heart, and my, just because of the one, awesome solo concerts, but two, just the y'all's drive to constantly, get people to listen and get it out to the community.
I love that. And that's what we're trying to do with our outreach program, is because there's a lot of people that aren't going to come to the academy to watch a concert.
Yes.
Right.
And so how can we take it out to them?
Yeah.
And I think we've been really successful with that this year. And, just hope to continue to grow that. We use grant funding to pay for that. So hopefully all this writing that I've done in the last couple of months, some of that comes to fruition, and we can continue to grow those programs.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I have learned so much today about the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra. Thank you for, sometimes if you're a previous guest on here and I'm talking about you, just learn from it. And I apologize in advance. But sometimes we have guests on and it's hard to kind of get them to talk. But we talked during the break about I'll give me an excuse to talk. I'll sit there and talk all day long. Right?
Yeah, no problem.
That's why Heather has this podcast at all. Because she was like, nobody will listen to me for an hour. What do I do? I was like, book a podcast. So I'm waiting for the angry text now. So I've learned a lot, though. It's been great. You've given us a lot of information and a lot of insight to that. And I appreciate that. So
thank you so much for having me.
We also kind of got to highlight how hard it is to work for a nonprofit, because you said, it is dependent on those corporate sponsors and community partners.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody is listening to this and and you say, I didn't know that they had open spots, things like that, reach out to Ula.
Yes.
And what was your email address?
Ula at lynchburgsymphony.org.
That's fantastic. So thank you for being a great there it is, the angry text. Thank you for being a great guest today. I appreciate you staying a little extra because we had a guest that had to
happy to do it.
Step out at the last minute. But
thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. Check out the home show at the River Ridge Mall this weekend. A lot of preparations gone into that. It's going to be a great event. Hopefully the rain will hold off. How long does this music go? I just kind of want to test it today and see.
Oh, you got a while.
I do?
Yeah,
okay,
you keep
great.
Going, yeah.
I'm going to do another half hour here with the music behind me because I'm jamming. So anyway, thank you to Media Squatch and Woody Watts today for helping us to have some great content. See what I did there, Woody?
There you go.
Check out their TikTok page and their website at Media Squatch. Just Google them. It'll come up, I promise. And I hope everyone has a great week. If you need more information about the CVABC, about events, membership, sponsorship, any of those things, or even being a guest on the podcast, check us out at cvabc.org. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you next week.